When it comes to survival, one of the most important skills you can have is the ability to make a fire. And I think it's unquestionable that the easiest way to do that is with some kind of lighter. We've looked at several lighters on the channel, and my two all-time favorites so far are the Exotac TitanLight and a good old Bic lighter. But every time I do a video about the Exotac products, I always get, just carry a Bic, just carry a Bic, just carry a Bic. And I get it, I do carry a Bic, but there are some things that the Exotac TitanLight can do that a Bic lighter cannot do. So in today's video, we're going to follow the science, do a couple of experiments, and just compare the Exotac to the Bic in a scientific manner. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me and on this bright, sunny day here. I'm sorry about the glare and shadows on my face, but it is what it is. So anyway, as I said, we're going to kind of follow the science today and take a look at the Bic lighter and the Exotac TitanLight. And I've got a chunk of ice here. If you look carefully in here, you can see there's an Exotac TitanLight frozen in there, and there's a green Bic lighter. So I thought we'd get all scientific this. I'm going to take you down to the old stump top. We're going to bust these things out of here and do science experiment number 1 and see how well they function. And there'll probably be some rambling along the way. Okay, so while we're unpacking the ice here, give you a little background. The last video I did on this TitanLight was in September of 2020, so 2 years ago as I make this. And I was going to do a 1-year follow-up and I forgot. I was going to do a 2-year follow-up, and I took this thing out of, because I've checked it every couple months and it's been lighting. So I checked it a month ago and it had fuel in it and it was lighting. But I carry this thing in my little car kit. Anyway, I checked it light. I guess I didn't screw the top back on really good, because when I took it out to check it to see if it was still light after 2 years, the other day, the top was a little loose and it did not have any fuel in it. So that's on me. I'm not going to wait another 2 years to show you, so you're going to have to just trust me on that, or not, and it's up to you. Think I'm making stuff up here, you can think that, but either way, I decided at least to do some sort of experimentation here. So you can see we've got the Bic lighter, the green in there, and the green Exotac TitanLight. And I did this because one of the potential drawbacks of a butane lighter, is, wow, look at that, came right out, is that when it's been really cold, it may not work properly. So I'm going to take these things right out. So I filled this back up for this test. Let's see if the Bic lighter works. So right now it's got frozen ice up in there and it won't work. So absolutely frozen. Now I get it, this is an extreme test, but it is a test. So it's frozen, right? Let's try the old Exotac. Blow the water off. Let's see if she'll light. So it's wet. That's all wet in there too. You can see that. And look at that. Would you look at that? It lights. I mean, and we could probably take this and thaw out the Bic, where the Bic will light. But you can see it's just burning too. Like it's absolutely working. All right, try to get to it. While I'm doing this, let's talk about a couple things. So, like I said, I always have a Bic lighter on me. I'm not knocking Bic lighters here. People think that it's always got to be one or the other. Some people think that, and that's not the case at all. Sometimes it can be one and the other, and you can see that thing's wet. It's still not working. It's gonna dry it out. Still not working. So the TitanLight's still working. So put the top back on that. Okay, so that's test 1. And so right now we're going to give the score TitanLight 1, Bic lighter 0. And this is extreme. Okay, it's probably not going to wind up frozen, but even after it's dried out, just cold temperature causes butane gas sometimes to not work properly. I mean, you notice that in butane stoves too. Sometimes when it gets really cold, the gas does not, it doesn't work right. Maybe the liquid doesn't gasify or the gas doesn't liquefy, one of the two. but still got no sparks there. So we're gonna let that sit there and dry for a minute. But so that's one of the advantages of a lighter like this, and this TitanLight lighter that's sealed up. Even though the outside gets frozen and wet and all that, when you open it up, the inside, even though the inside did get wet when I opened it from water coming through here, it absolutely worked like second strike. So that's a big, big plus to me, because you might not have this thing frozen in ice, but you might fall in the water, cold water, and you might be getting frozen, and you gotta have a fire right now. You don't have time to put this in your jacket and warm it up or any of that stuff like everybody says. You need a fire right now, which is why I like that TitanLight. Second test we're gonna do, I thought we would do, of course, I'm gonna have to go get another big lighter to do that one, because this one still isn't burning. So I'll get another big lighter and come back and we'll show you science experiment number 2. Just to be clear, by the way, I told you I always carry a Bic, and then I went and got another one. The reason I did is because the one I always carry is this little mini, and I wanted to just to be as fair of a science experiment as possible. So I've got this set up here in the outdoor lab, look here at Survival on Purpose Worldwide headquarters. And I know this is not accurate as far as what you're going to find in a survival situation, but I'm trying to create as consistent a testing process as possible. So these are some pretty big sticks. You'll notice these, here's this, about one of the smallest ones is about a little less than the size of a pencil. So typically, you're trying to start a fire, you need smaller tinder. But maybe you don't have that. Maybe whatever the case may be. So here's the one, still not lighting, by the way. Oop. Still the one that was frozen is still not lighting. Still not lighting. What I thought I would do is go ahead and we're gonna try the Bic first. We'll see if we can get this Bic, which does light, and you can see how big the flame is. That's how big the flame is. And flames on Bics are not really windproof. So we're gonna try, see if I can get this thing up under here. And gotta hold it on bottom, because if you hold it on top like this, it's gonna burn your finger, okay? So one of the other drawbacks to me for using a Bic sometimes is you can burn your finger pretty easily with it. So you need to have your finger on bottom. And then the other drawback is you have to hold this gas lever down the entire time to have flame. So we're gonna try to do that. I'm just gonna hold it up here close to the woods and see if we can get this thing started here. And it's pretty, I picked this up off the ground, but it's kind of dry, but we're gonna see. You gotta keep holding your finger in there. And again, I've got a controlled laboratory environment here, so it went out, so I can reach in there and hold it, but see, like it's starting to burn, but it's gonna take it, so it's out again. It's out again. It's out again, blowing out. So I started to burn, started to take, and it didn't wind up taking. So there it goes. Maybe it's starting to go now. Ooh, my finger's getting hot. My finger's getting real hot. It went out again. Got to keep holding that thing. I'm trying to be fair and not make this. Oh, you can even see that because my hand's in the way because I'm trying to block the wind. Now, ooh, man, it's burning my finger. Okay, so you can see the wind blowing this thing. Can you see it? It's out. Okay. Let's try the TitanLight. Well, that's another thing I like about this. You can light it and let it go. And you can notice the flame is a lot bigger than the one on the Bic too. Let me show you that. Let me just show you that real quick. Look, here's the flame on the TitanLight, and here's the flame on the Bic. Okay, they look the same right now, but you can see the TitanLight seems to be glowing up a little bigger. Now, you can also see I'm not holding anything down or had to push anything down. I'm just going to set it under there because this is not optimal tinder. This is pretty big for tinder. But by using the candle capabilities, I guess, of the TitanLight, you can see we're able to maintain a good flame on that thing. And now the wood itself is coming up, and now we can take the TitanLight out, I think, and we got flame. And it's still burning. Maybe we can, there it is, see that? The Bic is still trying to light. It's actually not trying to light, it's still not doing anything. We have fire. Pretty stinking cool. Okay, so did you learn anything in those little science experiments? I actually did. Like I say, I didn't set those up in advance. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. I just wanted to be like a real scientist and not make my conclusions until I had tested my hypotheses. So, and by the way, she still ain't working. But anyway, let's talk about pros and cons of these two lighters then. First of all, a couple things they both have in common. They're both made in the USA. I like that. They're both excellent pieces of gear. They're dependable within the ranges of their capabilities. So I'm not dogging, again, I'm not knocking big lighters. I like big lighters. I carry a big lighter. I think everybody should have big lighters all over the place. And both of them, when working, are instant flame. So those are three things they have in common. And I'm gonna keep messing with this thing. Maybe it'll light. I don't know, I might have killed it. But let's talk about pros and cons of the Bic. First of all, these are the pros are very inexpensive. You can buy a 12-pack of these on Amazon for $1.06 each. So on that, little over $1 a piece. Reliable, I know I'm saying reliable, but Bics have a reputation for being reliable. I mean, here's the one that I carry in my pocket every day, and it just lights, right? It always lights. This one, I don't know what happened to the flint, might have got jacked up in it. I'm gonna keep messing with it. If it ever lights, while I'm making this video, I'll show you. Also, it's compact, especially this little mini version. It's very, very small. What about cons? Can be affected by temperature and altitude and water and moisture, because this one still is not working. You have to hold that lever down when it is working. So as you saw in the science, that can be very difficult. And the other thing is when you're having to do that, it matters what your hand position is, because if you're trying to hold it down like this or something, the flame's going to come up, it's going to rise, it's going to burn your fingers. These things are just not as bomb-proof as everybody seems. So many people want to seem to say. There are limitations, is the point. And the other point is this is not refillable. So for long term, I know a big lighter will last a long, long time. I've got lighters literally that were like years and years and years old, and they work. But a really long-term survival experience, or you have to use it a lot, it's going to run out, and it's not refillable. You can't refill it with anything. So those are pros and cons. The pros and cons of the TitanLight. TitanLight's not affected by temperatures. It's a liquid fuel. One of the big pros for me, the big pros is you don't have to keep holding that lever down. You can just let her go and sit her where you need her. So that allows you to get marginal, even damp, tender burning, because you don't have to hold the flame on it. You can just let it sit there until it dries the water off. So I think that's really a big pro. You can also, as you saw, get a larger flame from this. If you want a really larger flame, just pull the wick out a little bit, and you can get a much larger flame. So there's that. The other pro in this one is it's waterproof. Got those O-rings in it. O-ring down here when you refill it, and like I said, I promise you, I'm not lying to you, I promise you, like a month ago, I took this thing out and lit it, and it worked. And then I guess I didn't have the O-ring tight or something, maybe, I don't know, but took it out right before I made this video, and it was, before I put it in the freezer actually, and it was, it didn't have any fuel in it, so I filled it up. Just being honest with you, I think it would probably last for 2 years. I don't know, but I think it would. I think the O-ring was a little loose. I think this is arguably more robust, another pro, than a Bic lighter. I mean, these are robust. Don't misunderstand me, but they are plastic, and some sort of heat or fire could actually burn a hole in these things a lot more so than it would this. I mean, you can run over these with a truck, I get it. But this part also, the mechanism is definitely not protected, so it can get damaged pretty easily, I think, and if you got hit or banged or something like that. So this is kind of encased, so I think that's another pro. I'm just telling you, it's a pro. And finally, this is refillable, and the flint is replaceable with standard flint, so that's another pro. Now let's talk about cons. So the biggest con that I always hear about this one is, and it's real, this is a $69.95 price on Exotac's website. You can go on Amazon, sometimes you can find them for 100-something bucks, or you can find them all the way down to, like, I found one for 50-something bucks on Amazon. Because people on Amazon can sell stuff for whatever they want. But good news is, if you use the coupon code SOP20 at Exotac's website, you can save 20% on this, which would put it, say 70 times 20% is 14 bucks. That's gonna put it at about 56 bucks. So, and these are made right here in Georgia. I like that, that's a pro to me. And then the other con, maybe it's a con for some people. It depends, is the size. You can see it's about the same size as a Bic, but it's definitely thicker than a Bic, so it's round. So anyway, that's it. Just to kind of wrap this up, again, I got to keep saying this. I'm not anti-Bic. I like Bics. I like them both, but I think each one has their place. And I definitely, it's inarguable that this TitanLight has capabilities that the Bic does not. Will you need those capabilities? Who can say, right? Who can say? But the ability to, just the fact that you can light this thing and stick it under some marginal tinder, to me, is absolutely, and the fact that it's waterproof. And so those two things, that make this, in my opinion, a really, really significantly better survival lighter than a Bic. Just think about this. I know people, let me wind this up and I'll stop. Because I know the comments I'm gonna get, well, yeah, but it's cold water. But yeah, but you're not gonna get this thing frozen in ice. I get all that, but you might fall in the water. As a matter of fact, one of the main reasons you might need a fire in a survival situation is because you're wet and cold and you're getting hypothermic and you gotta get warm fast. You don't have time to fool around and to wait on lighters to dry or to get warm or to find the optimal tinder or anything like that. You're probably, if you're getting cold, your gross motor skills are probably really, really down. You don't have time to keep flicking this lighter. You need a fire right now, and you're wet, and your lighter's wet. This will get the job done. This may not. And when it comes to a survival situation, I'm not looking for the maybe. I'm looking for the closest I can get to a sure thing. There's no sure things, but I want every advantage, every cheat I can have on my hands. So that's why I highly, highly recommend this TitanLight. Now this one's a green one. I really recommend the orange one because that is the one that absolutely it's easy to find. You drive this in the woods, I can see that might be hard to find. So I recommend the orange one. They make these in bright orange. I like that a lot. So again, you can save 20% by using the coupon code SOB20 at Exotac. And like I said, yes, Bic lighters are great. Get a bunch of them. Put them everywhere. Put them in every car, every vehicle, every kit, every drawer. Put Bic lighters everywhere. They are really, really good within a few limitations. But when it comes to your main survival, get home bag, you know, bug out bag or whatever, I think there's not a better choice that I'm aware of than this TitanLight from Exotac. That's it. I really appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. I hope this has been helpful. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.